told you that I never would. I told you I changed.
We're replacing 2 spinners in a row, really just become broken every time. So my recommendation is still the climber. Again, I still would like to quote on different.
Have you looked at the spinner?
Yeah.
First of all, it just looks kind of cool, but second, when I was reading it, it spoke about, and I'm not an expert in labels, but they were talking about universally designed for users of all shapes, sizes, 18 high seat for wheelchair transfer. This sounds good, but again, I'm not an expert, but it was nice to see when I read through it. It sounded, yeah.
I thought that inclusive in the description.
It did. That's what I'm saying. I appreciate the climber, maybe not as much, but definitely the spinner looked pretty good.
Well, I just don't feel like if you're, I'm not an expert at this, so please understand that. When I go to some of the other playgrounds with my children and I see the kinds of physicality that some of these kids can come and do, it's been ready to sit and stand around the room. I mean, there's things that actually work the muscle groups and work the proprioception of your body awareness, work the hand-eye coordination, work the muscle coordination. To me, I would love to put that kind of stuff in our playground, much more so than a spinner, and it still is inclusive of the other pieces of equipment. These two, neither of them really were that exciting, but if I had to choose, I'm going with the climber.
All right, so at this point, can we kick it back to Jamie and let her explore if there's something more inclusive like that?
I don't think she's technically viewed as better. I don't think she's actually responsible.
She is. We have this debate all the time.
Yeah, I heard dollar
Amy takes classes on this, from what I understand. Because we've gone through, like, who gets to make this decision,
All right,
and our rec director is trained.
so the answer,
Yeah, also if I could just add, because originally her and Mike Cassidy were looking at playground equipment already. So if we were looking at an in-kind replacement, they would be recommending this spinner. It is an inclusive one, that's why they recommended the sizing, everything.
I go with the spinner.
More durable, but
Get it installed.
I totally do not go with the center. We're very limited, I think.
But it's the one that you specifically said that it's inclusive. It's the one that's most inclusive. And that's what Jamie and Cassie are talking about.
So that's really for inclusive equipment that's not a spinner. And that's why specifically that our spinners just be ready, the kids be ready, kids they turn too fast and break them.
all right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna kick it back to Jamie and Mike to see if there is a third option for inclusive equipment that's not a spinner.
And I'd love to see this great spreadsheet. Are you excited about that, Jamie? I'd love to see what kind of money you think we can save and we can get under.
Of these examples,
Well, these are all different grants that we can use.
none of them are good. I went through each one of them. And the thing that we have to track, the words you just have to look for is, it's not need-based, but underneath certain threshold. I read every single one of them. They're all for people that are like the school lunch one I got excited about, I like food. You have to be, so we have to just be careful. They're never going to win on subsidized. Yeah, you can't.
There's just a question, I want to speak to that after the question.
Sure. I'm sorry. All right, I just want to make sure on Froggy Park, that's the direction of somebody.
I'm just wondering if anybody's concerned about the price and how do we just accept whatever cost of this, or how do we go through?
These are through the state contract. Yeah, it's a state contract, yeah.
We typically use our, well, I guess for.
I know, open space, I get that,
We have a broken piece of playground.
but that doesn't mean the open space is the end receiver.
It's also not being used for over $3 million in our residents.
All right.
Not
I
broken
get-
playground equipment and not finished with some people.
But I do want to stay on topic. I promised that I would keep this on topic If you want to raise that as a separate topic, that's fine.
I'm responding.
And you interrupted.
All right. We're not, but, so, posted the question. One option is to look at open space, another option is to look at grants, another option is to look at budget. Right?
I would hate for this to be an empty space and playground. Okay. I can do that.
Yeah, if I may, Councilman Grossman, Susan and I did do some research, if that's okay to speak to some of those questionnaire financial options.
Absolutely.
So the equipment would be delivered probably for 8 to 10 weeks. So with that being said, it took about 20 months. We have several options. One would be we have about $8,400 in the capital ordinance for Broadway Park. So that would be part of the cost. You could add to it several ways. One through municipal open space. The other would be to take out of our capital fund balance. Another way would be to put it in temporary capital plan at the beginning of the year. And then I think it was another one. And then I will do all this today. But there's several, no, I think I'm offering. But there's several ways to fund this. And, if, once you determine how you want to order it, you can figure that out. My recommendation would probably be wait to the beginning of next year because you're not going to be able to use this equipment anyway. Do it in temporary capital plan or use open space.
Or fine.
Or fund it from, or the grant. Yeah, no. So, there's options. There's a little bit of money, so we do have money in our municipal open space, but I don't know how much, a little bit of money.
If we wanted to use open space, does it make sense then to pair it with other interests that we're have for open space on ordinance?
Well, if you're going to do the climber and spinner, and then
Yeah, if we don't have.
you're on, you have the room.
No.
So if you wanted to use municipal open space for that and something else, yeah, you can do the same one.
Right. Again, because winter is coming, to Susan's point, we're kicking it back so that we can explore the option at least of having a third piece of equipment considered to your request.
Well, I do want to remind the council that I am again requesting better benches and tables for our playgrounds. I would consider adding that to open space here. Tables that have some shade, tables that kids consider to be snacks, tables for young children or nursing mothers, feeding babies, whatever it needs to be. But this is who attends our playgrounds and there's nowhere for them to sit.
One recommendation we follow has to be, again, we took benches out of other places, even temporarily. I'm sure we keep them at DPW. Why don't we just temporarily bring a couple, there are a couple particular parks that we believe are gaps.
All of our playgrounds.
Perfect.
I did think that I saw people sitting from the park.
There's one table.
So there is I mean, when you're saying there are no tables at any of the parks.
So we're very thankful our playgrounds get filled.
Okay. Right, but we can explore into that and how much room these things take from the play area. And that's what we have the experts for. Okay. Anything else on parks? Anything else on your report?
Yeah, just one last item with the grant, I know a question came up, I did want to address it. Just also from the last meeting, this list, obviously expands a lot more than from the prior meeting, the last list. This includes items that some we aren't eligible to apply for, I just wanted to show what was on there. And then some.
Raise it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also just to get an idea to share the timing, also to when they're posted, when they're due. But again, really was mainly to show the governing body the access to that portal, what's there, what it gives us access and some of the options to apply for.
My hope with using this company isn't just, get a list of great things. These are the ones who actually are eligible and have cards. that difference there, like, you and I both read through these grants, you read through the finance through COVID and decided we're not eligible for one of these. I don't want that process to be here. That process is what we should be thinking.
I think I can imagine it being hard because we're not gonna put a person from them that's gonna know what we're thinking in our budgets. Now, I would actually argue it is not us. Jimmy's doing a great job already, and there's others within the borough that are doing that. Look, it's fun for me to go through all of them and see what we can do. I'm not sure we could really expect them to have a full-time person every day. Running.
If we say we want a playground for the grant, if we can't, I don't want to list the 15 things. We don't.
I know we
Yeah,
can,
why?
I know we can speak about it. The question I had, and it's gonna be a silly question. And again, often told I'm wrong. Is it possible, our other community, it's our town, right? So I'm making it up, the KCC, the JCC, like those type of places. Like, is there a way to, we push some to them? Again, these are like private nonprofits, is the right word I'm looking for?
Yeah, the nature center.
Right, or the nature center is another good one. I don't know if that's something that,
Our nature
like,
center.
if you could just follow up, does this have to be private? I mean, I assume not since we're at public session, but I assume that we could push one to the nature center or
So
whatever.
you're saying we're sharing this?
So,
Yes.
So I can tell you, I'm showing the nature center.
If I can interrupt on this one,
Yeah, I was
Yes,
just about to ask you for, if you were here and.
yes. So
Okay.
your borough departments have been working very collaboratively, especially with the nature center, with when something comes across our desk that may work for them, we forward it to them.
Yeah, good, perfect, that's what I meant. That's good, and again, it's up to their own dollars, obviously, if they want to pursue it. But it's great that if dollar cost averages down, the list does, if we work signed for the cases.
Yeah, if I may, that was part of the reason, and some of the feedback, of course, is still new, and why I expanded the list, because it was also not just the nature center of the school, there was something we saw in the school, because a lot of these are probably school related under the school umbrella. So we are doing that in my office, going through every meeting, leading up to the meeting deadline. And I think it works good. It gives us an idea, and if there's something we want to share, I'm more than happy to share with whoever.
To make everybody laugh. In hindsight, we should have, one day we'll have a joint use meeting in my second or third term. But we should have gone halvesies with them. No, but again, it's.
We
obviously,
can
we share
certainly
together.
explore a shared service.
That's a great idea.
And let's say that deadline, we will have a meeting. Just for a few hours.
That's even.
Well,
Thank you.
Councilmember Dayton, all we can hear, if you want to ask the question, you ask it.
Wendy, thank you. I was asking about the status of the medical director.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
I was asking about the status of the proposed medical director.
Yes, the ordinance should be circulated to the commission by next week. And then we'll get it finalized for introduction and adoption by the governing body.
Thank you.
It's part of the overall ordinance overhaul for TV.
Thank you, Wendy.
By the way, on this grant sheet, when I was going over it, I really did appreciate the fact that not every grant had a deadline 5 days.
Some of them are rolling. I like
Some of
those
them are
better.
rolling, some of them are actually in 2023, so that was all good. Yeah. All right. Anything else from the administrator's report?
That's it. Thank you.
Good. It is time for public comments. Any audience members wishing to speak will have 3-minute time limit to address the governing body. Items on the committee of the whole agenda, large groups are asked to have a spokesperson represent them. Omar, is there anybody out there wishing to speak?
Hello?
I see. Christine, Ron just said, well, I believe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good evening, Christine.
Hello. I
If you
thought I'd call in so that
provide
the
your
next meeting.
name and- Oh, okay. If you can just provide name, address, and your comment.
Christine Evron, 39. This echoes, but all right. 39 Leroy. On the playground chairs question, I don't quite understand why we're paying taxpayer money for chairs that people for decades have been bringing sports chairs when they want to sit down. It just seems they're much more comfortable than anything we could put in the park. And it just seems a waste of taxpayer money. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comment. Are there any other comments? Anybody else wishing to make comment? Okay, thank you. Resolutions, I understand we are pulling resolution R22-385 because of some issues with notice. Are there any questions or concerns about any of the other items?
Yes. Just one question and then one. On the cleaning services, this is letter R, 386. Who was the previous cleaning service? Is it the same, yeah.
They're the best.
And do we know if it's very,
Right down.
and then on letter T, the procurement for signage and banners, but probably, I'd like to add that for a separate note.
So that would be pulled.
I'd like that for a separate vote.
Right, so that item will be pulled for a separate vote.
Sorry, which item was that?
Letter T number 388.
388, R22-388.
Thank you.
Wendy, I have a question. If there's a tie in the council seats right now, and the mayor is not
There's
either,
no time.
there's no tie.
Not.
Correct.
No, what does the council?
I vote as a council person. If there's a tie under Robert's rules, it would then not carry.
Correct.
Happens a lot in the real world. All right, any other questions or comments about the consent agenda?
385 is taken out, not just taken separate.
It's taken in. It cannot be heard tonight.
And you know what, I'd like to take out 388 and do it together.
Is there a reason that you're joining them together? Is it the same firm or same interest?
Same interest.
So both are engineering firms?
It doesn't need to be those engineering firms. Both are the downtown project that we discussed together. So I'd like to take them both out.
I'm sorry, can you all use the mic because it gets harder to hear?
So Councilmember Dayton is asking to take out R22-388.
Okay, I understand that there may have been some question as to wording that was used and a request for perhaps a clarification in the wording for the public. I believe that was why Councilwoman Dayton wanted to pull that one for the next meeting.
So what's the question about the wording? That wasn't brought up
Uh,
just now, so you're adding something that just.
Oh, sorry. It was a question that was asked of me that the resolution indicated the capital budget was funding it, which is not untrue, but it didn't note that the money had already been appropriated to the capital budget from the American Rescue Plan.
All right, Susan, you said you can answer that?
So earlier this year, we did an ordinance 2203, which allocate funds from the American Rescue Plan money for city and reserves. And we amended our capital budget to include funding for this project for resolution 388. So the funding is there. I certified the funds down in our capital budget.
Money has already been approved. The person came in 60% of what the number is. We're going to actually end up saving.
So you still want to pull it?
No, I'll do it.
All right. But Councilman Menon wants to pull it for a separate vote. Okay. All right. Any other questions about the resolution? Public hearing, we will have public hearing on ordinance 22-24, amending borough regulations, section 2, noise control. Minutes, were there any questions or comments? We'll approve the minutes of the regular meeting, but any questions, comments? And Omar, I appreciate your making some of the change work. All right. Anything for the good of the order? All right, hearing nothing. Old business, library roof repair update. I think again, Mr. Thompson, you are on.
Yep, thank you. Obviously next week we'll have the information session with the three departments, three boards, regarding the infrastructure and exploring options, including that with the of course continuation of the roof at the library, the canvas through that section of the building. Just through some preliminary conversations with the library, as I indicated before, obviously through this exploration process of potentially repairing that roof or replacing it, they're pretty much the takeaway is that they're willing to contribute in that endeavor financially. So as we continue, we'll get to know more as we continue to get more options and continue to have a clear path on the complex of the buildings.
All right. Thank you. And that is it for the committee of the whole. Does anybody need to take a break before we go into the regular meeting? Councilman Michael,
You're coming, my man.
this is.
How do you usurp the mayor and keep going every other week? You're on fire.
Something now. All right. Then, the same open public meeting. Yes. So I need a motion and a second to close the committee of the whole. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we can move on. Thank you. And it is the same statement, right? In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, the notice requirements have been satisfied. The meeting dates for the year are confirmed at the annual meeting, are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the municipal center, and published in the record within the first 10 days of the year. Down there. Yep. And the flag is back here, so please stand for the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Roll call, please.
Councilman Dean?
Here.
Councilmember Grossman.
Here.
Councilmember Bennett. Here. Councilmember Michaels.
Present.
Councilmember Natalie O'Connor.
Here.
Councilmember Park. Here. Present.
All right. First order of business, minutes to be approved for July 18, 2022 and November 1st, 2022, both regular meetings. Do I have a motion?
So,
Second, all those in favor say aye.
aye.
All right, council,
Sir,
Wendy, here, revisions to the agenda.
yes, sir. Pulling R22-385 altogether for tonight. And from the consent agenda, we're pulling R22-388 for a separate vote.
All right. So I need a public comments. Again, the audience members wishing to speak will have 3-minute time limit to address the governing body on any town issues. Large groups are asked to have a spokesperson represent them. Are there any people wishing to comment?
Of course there are.
Of course there are. All the way from Atlantic City again.
Christine Evron, 39 Leroy Street, President of the Chamber of Commerce. I see that you have in here awarding a contract for signage and way stations. We have no standard for what we want the town to look like. We've put in disasters of benches that do not fit our historic train station, and we're destroying our heritage tourism, which is a thing. And we used to enjoy it. What kinds of standards are we putting together for these people to make signposts for us? At the moment, the most recent ones are all Athena Blue, which is a lovely tribute to our Greek Orthodox church or cathedral, but doesn't really relate to the downtown. Where is the public input on these standards for these signage? And is there any input from the HPC? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any other public comments? Any other members of the public wishing to be heard?
See no other hands.
All right. A little bit of feedback there. Then I need a resolution, motion for resolutions
360.
360, 322-360 to R22, 360 to R22, 384, and R22, 386, and R22, 387. We have
If I may interrupt, Council President, 360 and 361 go a little out of order. From there, you go to 371.
Oh, there is a gap. All right, so let me just revise 360 to 361, 371 to 384, and then 386 and 387. Thank you, Councilor. Second. All right, please call the roll.
Councilmember Dayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman.
Yes.
Councilmember Bennett. Yes. Councilmember Michaels.
Yes.
Councilmember Natalie O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilmember Park.
All right, and then Councilman Menon, you asked to have a separate vote on R22, 388. So I will let you explain why the request.
Well, just a couple of things that I'm concerned about in terms of one item was what Chamber of Commerce President theme or understanding what the theme is going to be. We also received in our package, we received a presentation, but it didn't give any real idea of what what it would be looking like, you know, I understand some of that is based on them evaluating or certification, but I'm not confident. I personally am not confident.
Any other members wishing to be heard on this?
Yeah, I'll happily just give 3 bullets just to help council in a minute. So just as a reminder, as a council, we already approved the $50,000 resolution, as Susan mentioned. This is coming under budget, so that's one. The second thing is this was subcommittee. We actually met with this time. They gave a full presentation. Obviously, all of that was not put in there, but the presentation and of course the meeting that we had with them laid out specifically what they're laying out, what they're doing. And then the third one to Councilman Menon, again, the objective is to come up with what that vision is, what the positioning should be. Obviously, there's public outreach as part of the proposal, and it's incorporating the existing public outreach. So, yeah, hopefully that just helps Councilman Menon to answer all the questions. Again, it's in the budget already, and it came in under budget, 38,000 versus 50,000.
My only question, this is really for Susan, the CFO. Do we need or do we get other quotes?
So we had about 6 bidders that were interested. Only one came in under the threshold. It was Givada. They were looking at the scope of work and the deliverables. They didn't meet the criteria. So it was 38.5. And we have responsibility under local public contracts law to award this and sign an evaluation quote, competitive quote, to the lowest responsible bidder. They were it.
Thank you. I guess just to, since the subcommittee or downtown committee?
Subcommittee of the downtown committee, so there are 4 or 5 people.
Since 4 or 5 people are dealing with this critical decision, I would just ask, it would feel better if you make it clear to this company that those 4 or 5 people are not the Tenafly key stakeholders. That's a much wider group, and that they need to make sure that when they say key stakeholders, that's an awfully large group of people.
So just so you know from the presentation, there are actually 4 key groups of stakeholders: existing residents, existing businesses, actually prospective residents, and prospective businesses.
All right, so I didn't hear HPC since they do deal with signage.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of existing residents and existing.
It is, but it's a particular stake. It is a particular stakeholder.
Yeah, absolutely, Kelly. Totally agree.
Susan?
I just wanted to add that Givada would have been here tonight. They offered to come. And they also they have done and continue to work with the county for.
That's how, actually, to Susan's credit, she's being honest, that's how we in part found them, through all the work that Susan did. I'm sure Councilman Park can speak to, he got very positive reviews from the county as well.
Okay.
And it helped the prices.
All right.
And they're very enthusiastic about doing this work.
Because I know they got their start in automotive, and while Tenafly does have some car dealerships and repair shops, I think branding is a little more than that. All right, then, yes.
The scope and what is the other term?
The scope.
the other term? The scope and.
Scope and deliverables.
And deliverable.
What we were requesting, actually, I think.
Did we receive that, or is that only,
Well-
or was that only received by the subcommittee?
In the proposal, which is actually in their quote, this isn't an RFP or RFQ, quote. But in their proposal, they laid out the cost, and in each one of the phases, it was what we were asking for, that they're supposed to be delivered. They're looking at our branding, our logos, how to implement more foot traffic in town, social media platform. Those are all the things that they're going to be covering in the work that they're going to do.
All right. Then,
Just to add, this is one of the more involved vendors, companies. I got them the positive reviews on how we pick up the phone and call people from the company. So, very.
where are they located? I forget. Right.
And is that what I'm saying? Yes,
No, it's right.
right.
We don't even need to pick up the phone, you drive over there. Okay, I need a motion on resolution 22-388. Is there a second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember David,
Yeah, I'm very excited to get this underway.
Councilmember Grossman,
Yes.
Councilmember Bennett,
Yes.
Councilmember Michaels,
Yes.
Councilmember Dr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Park.
Yes.
Okay. Moving along, we have public hearing ordinance. The following ordinance is published herewith. It's first read by title only on November 1st, 2022, posted on the bulletin board of the lobby of the Municipal Center. This. One quick second. All right, the Borough Clerk will read the confirmation of publication, the ordinance, and the title of the ordinance.
Ordinance number 22-24 is an ordinance published in the Friday, November 4th edition of the record. This is an ordinance amending in chapter 3, Borough Regulations, section 2, noise control of the revised general ordinances.
All right. Are there any public comments on ordinance 22-24? Any public comments?
I see no hands, Council President.
All right. Are there any council members who wish to comment on this? All right. The only thing I would note is that the way it reads in my notice here is amendment to noise control.
It's way cooler than noise.
It is way cooler.
You're not like
A good pick when we're talking about nosy. Oh my goodness, this is deteriorating. All right, so Councilmember Dayton, I know, yes, which tells you I teach 7th and 8th grade. Would you like to make the motion?
I move to pass and adopt on second and final reading ordinance 22-24, and that notice of same shall be published according to law.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Clerk, will you conduct the roll call?
Councilmember David,
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman,
Yes.
Councilmember Bennett,
Yes.
Councilmember Michaels,
Yes.
Councilmember Dr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Park.
Yes.
All right, committee reports. Mine is fine. All right. Dr. O'Connor, would you start us off? Do you have any committee reports?
No, not since the last meeting.
All right, sounds good to me. Councilmember Michael.
Yeah, super quick, so the joint use unfortunately got canceled today. Recreation wise, it's actually happening as we speak. But the team is looking for some, not volunteers, paid employees for the skate park this winter. So if any residents or residents' children want to make some extra money, please reach out to Jamie Cannon. And then downtown, just again, thank you to the council for moving all forward with the marketing plan. Big thanks to Gene Ripken and Sharon Evans, Jamie Corsair, Deborah Adler, and Michelle Ross for subcommittee. Thank you guys very much.
All right, Councilmember Menon.
Just one report for the Board of Adjustment. There were two applications at the last meeting. One of them was postponed to the following meeting because it was a house that they had already gotten to about 95% of fruition. And there was a wall that was a little too close to the next property, and but we're not sure, or they weren't sure. They had gotten approval of to build it because there were certain variants that coming to the board this time that it should have been flagged by a prior stage. So the board asked for them to come back with information on the prior approval and the discussion. So there was a second application for an applicant to come forward about a month ago, and turned down because floor access ratio was about 50% on a house that was on an undersized property. But about a little over 50%. Well, the applicant came back and brought it down to about 40%, and the board felt that was a gift.
Thank you. Councilmember Dayton.
So the main one I have is actually, it was on the Jerry's report, we didn't actually discuss it, is the senior bus, the senior services committee met. I want to just say Lisa will be at our next meeting. She is doing an outstanding job. She's very busy. She picked up outreach and has really been attending everything that she can, meet our seniors and find our families who need senior services. But we bring into our meetings John, who is our bus coordinator, and he got a very shocking call from the county. They want their van back. So as we know, we have a senior bus, which is incredibly difficult sometimes to maneuver for some of the more differently able seniors. And we have a van that is much more agile, doesn't require CDL placement to drive, and has been doing a much better job. We borrowed that van from the county, and TNEC wanted it over. TNEC wanted it. So John miraculously convinced them that we weren't going to give it back yet. That van made 2,000 trips to date of various errands, doctor appointments, family visits, whatever it needs. Of those, we think it's an estimate of 700 or more just trips to the doctor for medical care for our senior services. So it's very much in need. Susan, if you wouldn't mind, please be in touch with John. So what we would like to do is get an estimate on what a van would cost. And the idea is to sell our senior bus and to get a van of our own. And so they have actually, John actually did some research, it's over $70,000 because it's retrofitted for the wheelchair and the ramp. So if you could work with him, over in the senior center, and let's see, they are going to come during budget time. This was the van, also we applied for a grant and didn't get it. So I would hate for us to lose this ability to use the van for our senior services. So that is like a big asterisk star needs to be addressed immediately. And just like Adam was saying about high schoolers, we are looking for a buddy program versus no shuttle. One of the major requests we get at both our DPW and our senior services coordinators, whether it be the senior center or our senior services Lisa's office, is, I need help with ice and snow on my property. So if you know anyone who wants to be a buddy to our seniors who has, a snow plow or a really strong back, please reach out to Lisa in senior services. Unfortunately, my meetings had a conflict, so I did not make Northern Valley Greenway. And we do have a DPW meeting coming up. Jeff and I are talking about the new trash contract.
You guys on board?
Yes, and I do want to take this time for a second to thank Michael Cassidy and all of our DPW workers that have been with the dump trucks, with the leaf blowers, with, in the rain so far, with wet leaves, getting our streets clean, so thank you. I really want to take the time to acknowledge that. I know there's still some streets that need a lot of work, but getting to you, so residents, if you feel that your street is becoming overwhelming, please just call in, but it shouldn't be the case. They are doing this on a rotating system. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Clark.
This Saturday at the community garden, the garden club will be having their end of the season gathering. Language refreshments will be served. Then CapMet last Monday, first one of the school year, programs are booked and they're moving right along. That's it.
All right, thank you. Planning board did meet, it finalized approval of the doctor's office that's going to Field Friendly site, so that resolution carried. That was the main piece of business that they had. I also just want to follow up on DPW, besides for Councilmember Dayton's thanking for the leaf clearing, which has been going fantastically, not directly related to DPW, but to the borough. There has been a lot of progress made, and we're closing in on, not imminent, but we're closing in on reopening Bliss Avenue. Definitely a lot of progress there. I know they're still waiting, I think, for the main part of the bridge to be delivered, but things are otherwise pretty set, from what I understand, and should, if all goes well, open in the not too distant future. Notice I'm being very careful not to use any dates here, but that's a fantastic thing, and that would make us probably ahead of Englewood, and who is it? Demorest has the other, or Crestfield is the other closing, so we're doing phenomenal. All right, I do want to very,
Sorry,
yes.
any update, where are we with, the next up with the Clinton Inn stuff? Is that still before the planning board for?
Hasn't come before the planning
But it
board
has,
yet.
does it have?
Yes, yes. Site plan approval would have to go there.
And that's their cadence.
That's their timing, their cadence, their everything. All right, very quickly, because I don't often get to make mayor's remarks, but I have a couple of times. I want to look backwards and forwards for a minute here. Looking backwards to last Friday, I want to echo Mayor Zinna's message, thanking all those who have served our country. It was Veterans Day, and that should definitely be something that we are grateful for. We fight for the last 200 and almost 50 years now. We have fought for democracy and to keep a democracy, and we fight that both abroad and at home. I'm referencing the Civil War, nothing else. But we do have that fight, and thank those who have served our country to make this a safe and better place for all of us. Looking to the future, I hope everybody does have a safe and healthy Thanksgiving. Just please keep in mind, flu, COVID, RSV, they're all floating around, so stay safe, especially with Thanksgiving followed by winter holidays. With that, I would like a motion to go into closed session. So also, we need the reading of the closed session from Wendy. So I guess we'll do that before I take the motion. Wendy, we're
My
going to
apologies.
close. Not a
Yep.
problem.
All right.
I know normally we just get started in the meeting at an hour.
Very true. Very true. I will head down out of town. Must be me. Okay. Resolution R22-389. At a regular meeting of the mayor and council of the borough of Tenafly, county of Bergen, state of New Jersey. I'm sorry, I keep closing the page on my computer by accident.
Not a problem.
So at a regular meeting of the mayor and council of the borough of Tenafly, county of Bergen, state of New Jersey, held on November 14th, 2022, the mayor and council of the borough of Tenafly has deemed it necessary to go into closed session to discuss certain matters which are exempted from the public. Be it resolved, the mayor and council of the borough of Tenafly will now convene in a closed session that will be limited only to the consideration of items with respect to which the public may be excluded pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12B. The general nature of the subject to be discussed in this session is as follows. Matters falling within the attorney-client privilege to the extent that confidentiality is required in order for the attorney to exercise her ethical duties as a lawyer, and that is a litigation update. Additionally, there's contract negotiations with two types of contract negotiation, one of non-collective bargaining, and the second one is in regards to the DPW driver laborer contract. Minutes will be taken of the meeting and released to the public at the time that the matter is resolved.
All right, thank you. We have a motion to go into closed session. So moved. Second. We have a motion, a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we will reconvene here.
Thank you, Council President. Very well done.
Yes, we're not done, but let's keep
There
rolling.
there seems to be some,
Second.
Second.
aye.
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 I knew I never could, know that